So Duong with that closed hand bridge, but his palm off the table, same as Albin Ocean uses. Now, didn't make the one as you tester to start. Why would you risk things when you can play a safety like this?
I love watching Duong.
Yeah, so the only reason, or than Jayson had after the dry break. Oh, I didn't think there was a path between the green 6 and black 8.
No, neither did I.
Great tactical play by Jayson.
He's down at number 22 in the world ranking. It's impacting his shot selection. Is that?
Well, I mean, this was typically a ball you should jump, right? Because what's this? How is he ever going to get the snoop? Ah.
One distance. I don't think he's quite at the level that he needs to be if he's going to become one of the genuine top players. We saw that there.
And one of the things that struck me, and he said then, of course, talking about that hand injury, from which he says he hasn't yet fully recovered, so hasn't really put in many practice. A player with his talents is a danger. Look at this cue ball spinning. Bottom left spin off of 3 rails. There you go.
Duong got lured in, missed it, and left the chance from which Shaw is going to account for this opening. Quarter-finalist last year, heavily beaten though by Jonas Suto, who went on to reach the
pool. Really pretty unique.
Bearing in mind where you're from, you should have one of those.
Well, to be honest, I had one of those. Oh, now that is beautiful.
First started to notice him 2022. Came at the start of the following year in the snows of Kielce in Poland, where he knocked the defending champion Shane Van Bonin out of the World Championship before losing to Mark Bijsterbosch. Fell away a bit in 2024 in terms of the inaugural Reyes Cup.
So players that you will definitely be able to see tomorrow. Heide, of course, with a convincing win. Well, so have all of his wins been so far in the tournament against Lucas Fracasso-Werner. Ritzi, who I just saw clinching his match against Stuart Bingham, and I have to say it's quite impressive. So watch out for
the early session tomorrow. Down ever since. Drouw QUOC HOànG doesn't miss many balls that you don't expect. So when he had ball in hand, with his one previous attempt in the match. And the same again.
Exactly the same again.
10-4 wins against Daryl Hill and Besar Spahiu.
Yeah, Jayson did attempt that.
9-6 against Mohammed Babad. Saudi Arabia in his first match was as close as it's been for him. 9-5.
Underneath the black, out of the left bottom corner, and then needs a lot more speed than he gave this one. Well, he may actually early games. Well, he sure hit it hard enough.
And a good option it proves to be. Another look at this. This took some doing, Rico. It was far from guaranteed.
Absolutely, and hit the rail a
couple racks to get back to 5-4. Back here, Duong has finally made a ball off the break. And, well...
Yeah, he's gearing up for a harder shot, I think, so I might see the bank here. Watch the 2-ball. Watch the 4-ball, for that matter. Big breakthrough, right? He won the Premier League, hasn't he?
Yeah, he won that earlier this year, and that takes some doing.
Does take some doing.
In the later stages of events on a very regular basis over the last year or so. Quarterfinals of the European Open last year was his best run, but he was all 16, and I'm never a believer in that old saying about if you keep knocking on the door, it's bound to open eventually, because it might not. But if you do away, and as we were just alluding to a moment ago, once you get that first out of the way, there's every possibility you'll go on and win a lot more, and I think he's got.
Well, it's not necessarily doesn't have to be a monkey off your back, but if you haven't seen yourself do it, it still proves, just rightfully said, Piers Labout is the Hanoi Open title holder, and he might push on to do even better. 1 ball back into the side twice in a row now. 2 balls should bump off of this rail to give him make the cue ball straighten up to miss the side pocket. Ooh, that was a good shot. That was such a good shot. I thought he was trying to pocket, but out of that corner and then come up above the 9 ball. Already leading 3-1, remember. This is to take him to 4-1, breaking, race to 10.
Last few years, but it actually goes back a lot further than you might think. It was 20 years ago this year the World Cup of Pool was first played, and 8 years later, Duong and Nguyen Tan teamed up to beat Kuwait. And they almost made it to the quarterfinals. 9-ball went crazy in Lugo that night. His partner, of course, was one Jayson Shaw. So Drouw QUOC HOànG, very much in control here later in the year as well. Duong's been to the quarterfinals there before. He's looking good for a last 16 spot here because he leads 4-1. That's another good break.
5, the 7 and the 9, and that is a little bit of a higher probability than a 3-9 combination at that distance. Oh, as I say that, oh.
not to be, and he's left a chance.
I'm just asking maybe to have the cue ball clean. I'm not sure. Ooh, nice little bump on that side.
Because everyone is using this new chalk. Now, I have to say, I had never actually used it until a couple of days ago. It is unbelievable. Not the tiniest.
It is true, yeah. And a lot of people might think, what are you talking about? It's just a little bit of chalk. But no, it's very true that it used to leave marks on the ball, or chalk, residue chalk, and it used to leave chalk on the table, you know, especially if you hit the ball hard. Some cause kicks, as we call them, or back contacts in snooker, where basically cue ball contact the object ball gives you Jayson Shaw and his orange ferrule breaking from the same side as Dào is. You know what I think sometimes with Jayson, well, when I met him, and that was like 2000, and then he was still a young, wild, quick playing gun, came from the English pool, and that played with a lot of fire. Now,
it's quite a pattern.
That's true, and this safety, well, this might still end up being covered by the pink. Works very well, typically every year. And then but he also backs it up, right? So he kind of says he's going to do great, but that also just wakes him up, it seems. And these tournaments,
the Americans, Earl Strickland and Johnny Archer. And also, if he's on the Mosconi team again this year, he will eat.
Yeah, good opening two ball. Yeah, and from 4-1 down, didn't Dào miss the 3-9 combinations, go 5-1 down?
It was a really key moment. You have to remember his big win in Hanoi. The crowds are bigger than they are anywhere, and he just fed off that. Jayson, it was just real pop star stuff.
Yeah, I remember that so clearly, watching it on TV and thinking, I need to go to that tournament.
So, having been on the brink of going 5-1 down just a few minutes ago, Shaw now trails. Jayson Shaw, one behind now. He's made the one in the side in a rack that he hopes will take him level, but I'm not sure he's got.
So might lay the 2. Oh, it needs that spin to take effect and go behind the 9, and that worked out a treat. Beautifully played. So
in tennis, and you see great sportsmanship in golf as well, but other sports could certainly learn a lot.
Ooh, slit wide there. Brand new CPBA cloth, and players really have taken to both balls and cloth, and that is what we will.
One thing you don't want to see happening when you're playing Jayson Shaw, amazing to think, about 10 minutes ago, he was potentially a shot away from going 5-1 down, and just it was, but this is the one that he's made. So Dào has a bit of breathing room again. So we'll just have one more look at that before we get down to the floor with Abigail.
Commentating in front of.
So the 1 wriggles in, and I think he's going to have a shot at the 2. No.
Interesting. Typically, players would leave maybe half of a 2-ball visual for a player to play. No, nowhere near. But here we are, hotboxing it. Okay, good enough, because that 3-ball.
It's turning out like that so far. Oh, but nothing joyous about it.
You do see him often sitting there with that fan, trying to cool himself down in the chair. Although, so that
he could do with a cornetto right now.
Whoa, that didn't threaten the pocket. In fact, or uninspiring each other, perhaps. Okay, could hit quite a bit of it. And that was all by design, you know. Played it with a little bit sleepy to me, a little bit. Okay, nowhere near really. Hey, you know, you might get a second chance, whereas in Mosconi Cup, it's like he's fired up and so awake. Well, pre-game.
Lovely shot from Dào, making himself a big favourite now to win this 9th rack. And get back to 3 in front, which he was at 4-1. Dào, and we've really only found out about him in the last few years.
I wonder, actually, I really don't know his story. Like,
it's a huge country, Vietnam, one of the biggest in the world, which he has secured. Jayson Shaw really needs to
get a new man, of course, at the USA helm. But I think with Johan's proven track record, of course, worldwide, with individual players, with the European, etc. All right, push out. That could still qualify, players that have already qualified, and you just keep thinking, wow, yeah, he could win it. Wow, yeah, actually, he could win it, or he's already won it and could do so. It's still coming up tonight, so stick with us. Michael's rapidly scrolling down.
Not yet, because I think it may be coming on this table. No confirmation of that yet.
Definitely has consistently made it to like the last 64, last 32 stages, and this, you know, this will motivate the right of the 9-ball or to the left of the 9-ball to get position on the purple 5. And that'll work just fine. Maybe a little bit more of a... Let's go missing that 3 ball, which he would never miss normally.
Just getting started on table 6. At that point, the only match left to start will be Dennis Grant. Yep. We've got Niels Fine just started out as well in the first rack at the moment. But we've completed 10 racks here, and Jayson Shaw, he needed to win that one, and he has. Back to lead 6-2. Back here, Shaw looking to get back within 1. He's made the 1 on the side.
In the open. See, that is what he did. So exactly on the line where the 6 ball was. He can go 7-4 down. Of course, Wang would be favourite. If Jayson wins, comes back to 5-6 down. Then
we're back to 7-6 behind now against FSR. And he was in play with a chance to draw level, but he's just butchered his position. Elliot Sanderson, increasingly likely to be part of it. He took full advantage of that scratch off the break from Victor Zielinski with ball in hand.
And when was the last time that Elliot would have reached the last 16?
I'm trying to think, has he ever been in the last 16 of one of these events?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That he seems to be unable to inspire himself. You know, if you play good for a few racks, then you forget about conditions, you forget about wherever you play the game, right? That's still the original thing that you enjoyed. He's undoubtedly inspired by him. If you would ask him, the level he's shown so far, the little mistakes he's made, balls he's missed, to only be 5-6 down, perhaps. That works.
For all that he's been a bit below par and has made some enforced errors, looks as though he's only going to be 1 behind. So a couple of racks in a row for sure.
One draw and a good cue ball speed control, and then next is the challenge. I'm unsure what he's going to do here. Okay, leave the bank on the 4. It's maybe not playing the best or behind this, a chance to get a chance to make it 6-all. Yes, bank shot down. I'm breaking. We're in a break format because there are only a few players, and Jayson is definitely one of them.
Importance of momentum and rhythm for sure. He's whipping it up at the moment. And with that, he gets an early finish with a 3-9 combination in rack 10, but still a long way behind against Elliot Sanderson. That one is 7-3.
Oh, overcut it, Jayson. And that hasn't yet been explained to you when you miss a ball. You know, your opponent is at the table. You may very well lose that rack. And then, you know, for tomorrow, right, to have more Brits representing in the last 16. Could yet have Gary Wilson in there if he beats Filler. You can call it. It visually looked like a smile, but it wasn't a smile from a situation that he was enjoying because it gave Wang the opportunity. Ball off the 4 into that little 6-9 cluster. Nice, smooth.
Sanderson didn't take advantage of that ball in hand, and Victor Zielinski has got a really
top
good
rail back down. He's going to make it top right corner pocket, actually. Beautiful. You know, sometimes you get opportunities and you squander them. Sometimes you don't get much opportunity and you just have to stay cool. I always tell my...
So it's going to be 4. It's taken a long time to get back into. She's a good player herself with him at these events, but I believe they're building a house in Germany at the moment, so I guess she's back there working on that. Meanwhile,
lower Q-tip position tells me he's going to screw it back out. Nice. Very good. The 5 being top side of the table, 6 being down here. We'll make his cue ball come off the rail a little bit closer towards the 5 ball, but kind of that same angle, about 30 degrees. So a very doable. And that should give him a nice shot on the 6. And then, all of a sudden, should be... So Michael is allowed.
Okay. We'll come back to that in a moment. Because, well, we
thought 9 ball. Oh no!
It has been a problem, a big problem.
And he's probably looking at it back to 7-all. Yeah, and Wang has missed a few, hasn't he? Potting talent, right?
This for 8-6. Yeah, really.
Right, a few successful breaks by Jayson, and then look at the 2 ball. 1 ball down, 2 ball coming around, and that WNT TV. Oh, okay, so didn't want the attacking option, thought he will be more successful playing safe. Maybe sends the blue to the left, cue ball to the right, like so. And will stare down that window. I think he's going to clip the 2 and send the cue ball back where it came from.
Actually got pegged back to 6-4, but he's regained the initiative towards the end, and it looks as though he's going to finish it out with a run of force of Pilovanovic's career. Was beating Kachi at this stage of the European Open in Sarajevo. It's a different story this time. Kachi winning by 10 racks to 4, and he will play Wojciech Szczepczyk in the last 16.
Side pocket. Perfect. I'll come out to the bottom right corner pocket and already kind of knew what was coming, with Dào being a very good jumper.
He lost 5 in a row. And he should take it now. It looked as though he might scratch in potting the 6. And even now it seems amazing the cue ball is 6 lead. I'll bring up to date on that in a moment. Jayson Shaw has an 8-6 lead here. Probably not for much longer. Boy, again, he trails 8-7.
Cue ball traveling directly to the 2. Will it give him a shot? Yes, it